Welcome to the Integration Station. I'm Ashley Michaud, your coach. It's all happening.
Hey, SD. Great to have you here.
How's it going today?
It's going wonderful. I'm so grateful to have you here. Honestly, you've been an asset in our group.
I'm a little embarrassed. My lab behind me is such an intimate place that not a lot of people get to see. So this is something new for me today.
Oh, what a privilege. You do great work there. I know many of our group members already know you because they see you be so active in the group. I'm really, excited to share you with them in this way and get a sneak peek at behind the scenes too.
For those of you that don't know me or haven't had a chance to interact with yet, my name is SD or Mr. D. 46 years old. I'm a father of four. Got 2 kids and 2 stepkids, so that keeps me very busy. Lifelong depression patient. Survive. I don't like the term survivor, really, but I've had depression for most of my life. And about 6 years ago, I found mushrooms and it really changed my life. And so now it's gone from something that helped me personally to a cool hobby that I really got into mycology and growing mushrooms to something that's kind of become more of a profession for me. As of January this year, I've kind of gone full-time myco. Really focused more so on, growing mushrooms is great. And I put my all into growing mushrooms, the best quality, cutting edge genetics that I can. But that's really just kind of the starting point. Where I kind of envision myself and kind of see where the role I play or the role that I've given myself to fulfill is really more of the therapeutic use of mushrooms, specifically with help with depression symptoms and addiction as well. I've been fortunate enough to be able to work with a number of addicts in the past, and I can't take any credit for any of that. It's really all the mushrooms. This magical medicine that just comes in and corrects people's lives and kind of shows them the perspective that they may have been lacking. And so that's who I am. That's what I do. Like I say, it's a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to work with all of you. It's a pleasure to interact with all of you. And I try to be as accessible and down to earth as possible. There's a lot of things I don't know, but there's a lot of things that I do know as far as how to use fungus to improve your life. And so just working on what I do know and how I can help, that's who I am. So, hey, everybody, if you're new to the group, if you yourself are struggling with addiction or with depression or anxiety, PTSD, or if you know someone who is, reach out. It's not all about, hey, how many mushrooms do you want to buy for me right now today? It could be something as, hey, I'm having a hard time. I'm just not myself anymore. I feel like there's not a way forward. Or I don't know how I can get through the end of the day or the end of the week without X, Y, or Z substance. Whatever the case may be. I feel blessed and fortunate to have met you in the first place, Ashley, and to be a member of the group. That's what the group's for. So if you're in the group and you're kind of like, hey, what's going on here? Reach out. We're here to help. I like to think of myself as a helper. So if I can help with anything related to addiction, PTSD, depression, anxiety, or if you found that mushrooms have helped you on any level personally, and you'd like to know a little bit more about how to grow your own mushrooms and make your own medicine, I'm certainly a resource that you can lean on there. Whatever stage of the game you're at, mycology is I try to make it as unmysterious as possible. It's really just a natural science, and you can put things into play that it really kind of just happens. It knows what to do. So if you need help getting your grow on, let me know. Happy to help.
That's awesome. So what inspired you in your own journey to actually turn this hobby into a business? Like, obviously the mushrooms helped you with depression enough that they inspired you to help others, but to make it a full-time business, what inspired that? How did you go all in?
That's a great question. It's something that just dawned on me. I found myself, I looked up one day, and it was probably about 3 or 4 in the afternoon, and I realized I've been doing nothing but mushrooms all day. I've been preparing grain to sterilize, and I've been doing a lot of the other, busy work, component work as far as growing mushrooms. I think I'd been back from the post office. I'd sent mushrooms out to someone somewhere. I had 2 or 3 people online that were just asking me questions about how to grow or how to dose themselves with mushrooms. That maybe they bought mushrooms for me and were like, hey, now what do I do? Like, just eat these or what, or when and how, where? And it dawned on me that, I'm spending most of my waking hours doing this. I had my job as a real estate agent previously, but that became a job. And I found myself really wanting to be in the mushroom space 24/7. And so I was able to kind of hit pause on my other career and give myself this job, which was nice. And so here we are. I decided that I was the mushroom man. I had been spending so much energy doing it. It's really where my passion was. And it just dawned on me that it was just on me to kind of take that next step, make this a reality. I've been using the excuse of, well, this is illegal, so I can't do this yet. I have to wait. And it's a decision that we all make as growers. Do we want to obey the law, or do we want to do what's right and help people? I think that, heaven forbid, if the authorities should find out about me, I would hope that at some point I would be able to look a judge in the eye and say, you know what, I sincerely tried to help my neighbors and my community members. But really, it was just the fear. Fear is a motivating factor sometimes, or not. And it was really just, I'm not going to let this technicality limit what I do. I am the mushroom man. This is what I'm doing, and so it's just the mentality of like, hey, this is what we are now. This is what we do going forward. It's not something that you don't get an email from somebody up some corporate ladder saying, congratulations, you've been selected as the sole finalist for the, you just have to give yourself that job, and it's the best job I've ever had. So certainly, it's you wake up in the morning and you think, okay, what do I have to do today? I have to grow mushrooms and spread joy and healing and happiness. It doesn't get any better. Dream job.
It's beautiful. I love how you put it as that you gave it to yourself, and it is a gift. It really shows me too, that you, coming from somebody with depression and addiction in their past, depression is so much about being stuck in the past. When you're talking about mushrooms, you're definitely here today in the present moment, accepting your gifts. It's so important. It's such a great thing. I wanted to make present as we're recording this too. So, I'm curious, what is your favorite mushroom? What's your favorite mushroom to grow? What's your favorite mushroom to consume in your own life? And are they the same? Are they 2 different mushrooms?
I'm more specialized in cubensis. Psilocybe cubensis. I'm starting to kind of branch out into other species of fungus. I'm gonna try and take a stab at pancyan, which is kind of a finicky species of fungus, but supposedly is a couple of steps above cubensis on both the potency chart and just the overall euphoric effects that it can give. So the potential of that is exciting, and that's got me motivated to kind of branch out into new areas. But for the most part, I've been someone who specializes in cubensis. It's the world's most versatile psychedelic active fungus. It can grow in a variety of conditions. My favorite ones are penis envy. I think back to my one illumination trip where, I just, wow, it was just the dawning of consciousness for me was on penis envy. So that's always going to have a special place in my heart. I'm also an active member of the TAT Syndicate, the True Albino Teacher Syndicate, which was founded by a good friend of mine who is Canadian. That's just my favorite Canadian, except after you, of course. Actually, my friend Jake, and he lives outside of Vancouver. He discovered the True Albino Teacher a few years back, and he's a good friend of mine. He's got a group on Facebook that's about 8,000 strong, 8,000 mushroom growers out there, all dedicated to this one line of genetics that he's developed. The True Albino Teacher, Ghost, Yeti, and it's just like a Willy Wonka's factory of cubensis genetics over there, and it's he's kind of outsourced that to anybody that's a trusted grower, i.e. anybody who can field some spores in the mail and grow those out. It's really all it takes to become a member of the TAT Syndicate. So Jip was a mentor of mine, and he helped me, become the grower that I am today. And certainly the line of mushrooms that he's introduced to the world are some of my favorites as well. So in addition to the penis envy, probably my other favorites are Ghost and some of the other varieties from the TAT Syndicate. Shaki is a good one. I myself have put a couple on that map, but yeah, as far as cubensis goes, I enjoy growing most of the TAT Syndicate stuff. That's a lot of what I grow. It's what I spend a lot of my time doing. And a lot of the high potency cubensis as well, the penis envy, the apes. I grow a lot of those.
What significant changes are you seeing in this field? You've been in it for a while now.
Everybody is and I don't mean to put anybody down. I probably fit most of these categories myself, but everybody is a guru these days, Somebody that just pokes their first bag with some spores and is waiting on their first flush of mushrooms is all of a sudden the one to go to for advice on all of this. So really what I've seen is just an explosion of mushroom consciousness all over social media, Instagram, Facebook. I mean, I mentioned the TAT Syndicate. The structure of that is Facebook. It's a group on Facebook. I mean, if you want to be a member of the TAT Syndicate, you got to have a Facebook account, So it just the overall number of growers has just exploded. And when I started growing, you would call a certain supply house, Sporeworks, and you already go online and make your order, and it would come in the mail. But now there's just hundreds of just spore depots, of spore mongers, people who have just collected genetics and are putting it out there. So more than anything, just the overall growth and growers, which I think is a very positive thing. That's to me is a strong sign that people are listening, that message has been received loud and clear. That you don't have to turn to what the pharmaceutical companies, offer as far as relief. You can kind of take that into your own hands and heal yourself, simply and easily. So that's refreshing to see that in action. To see the average person on the street aware of mushrooms and in a lot of cases taking that risk of their own personal freedom. All of us do it. Inoculating those spores and getting their own going for the first time. Just the number of growers has just exploded. The number of I would say advanced mycologists or advanced growers who understand advanced techniques like serial dilution. Growers that have microscopes that are looking at hook connections on mycelial growth on petri dishes. The number of growers who understand how to cross and make hybrid varieties out of two separate varieties has gone up a lot. Mycologists like Alan Rockefeller, He's a guy who selflessly dedicated his life to mycology and teaching others like myself how to do it right from a scientific, bioscience standpoint. Cereal dilution, there's a lot more growers out there that understand how to do that. And so you're seeing the results of that. When I started growing, the only hybrid out there was albino penis envy. That was like the first one. And now, good Lord, it's like cannabis. I can't keep up anymore.
Yeah, I can't keep up at all.
Trying to keep up, just focus on my own developments, my own oscillations, and my own crosses, and just like I say, I don't need to be the most well-known mycologist. I measure my success in how many people I can reach, how many people I can heal. Where does as growers we end up with these big bags of dried mushrooms. What happens to those mushrooms? Where do those go? Who eats those mushrooms? And I think that a true healer cares about that. Cares about where his product is going, what means is it being used. Is it are dance kids using it at the nightclub, at the EDM concerts, or is it that single mother who's so anxious and depressed that she just doesn't know how she can make it to the next day? I kind of focus myself on that second crowd, people who are just looking for solutions to live better lives. That's really what is my barometer for success. I don't need to have the most followers on Instagram. I don't need to be invited to the psilocybin cup. It's cool that we have one, but it's just, popularity contest. I think as healers, all the lessons we need are just everything that we learned in kindergarten, just be kind and treat others like you'd like to be treated. And I think most good healers are actually people who have found that path on their own, people who've come out of a lot of pain, myself included. And kind of know that path back to recovery, and are willing to kind of lead a gingerbread crumb trail for others to follow, so to speak. That's who I am.
Yeah, that's beautiful, and it resonates so much with me too. I took this path same as you. Maybe not. I was doing it before I became a parent, but when I became a parent, I stopped a little bit. I was like, I can't do this. It's illegal. And so I went for a whole bunch of other certificates so I wouldn't have to go back to the hospitality industry and risk my sobriety. And
oh God, what a toxic environment to try and be a sober person. Lord, get you into a restaurant. It's the worst.
Yeah. So I went for all these other certificates and stuff, and I'm like, why is nobody talking about psychedelics? It was still all I wanted to. It really did consume me. It chose for me, and I think that's really a big part of it. When you're talking about other people healing, it really is. It's not a choice. It's that there's something to this that consumes you to the point that you have to share it. It's Yeah.
Exactly. To me, it's like I saw one of the most earth-shattering, beautiful experiences that you can just beyond words. And I know where that place is. Yeah. I've got a map that can take you right there.
Yeah.
And I just want everybody to, hey, I've got this place. It's euphoria. All your fears are relieved. Your pain is gone. You're happy. You're joyous. Let's go to that place. That's in my mind where I'm trying to take people, is that the place of enlightenment, that place of where the pain finally disappears and you can kind of see why for the first time. That's where, and that's just enlightenment. It's an elevated plane of consciousness. You realize that there's so many different planes of consciousness that we can enter into. That's life-changing. And then when you get it deeper into it and you realize, I don't really necessarily need mushrooms to get to that headspace. I can focus and breathe and concentrate, and I can reach that same level of consciousness. It's just door openings, discoveries.
The perception. Yeah.
You could quote Aldous Huxley, but that guy knew what he was talking about. Aldous Huxley was a guy that had that same place in his mind and really wanted people to know about it. And bless him for all that he did to try and lead people there, you know?
And to put it in the simplest terms ever.
The Doors of perception.
Yeah.
You know, and the Doors, the rock band kind of took it and did their thing with it. But if we go back to who Aldous Huxley was, he was an English writer. He's probably the last person you would want to ask about altered states of consciousness. He's just one of those, I mean, I don't know, he probably had a good acid dealer and just started tripping out, you know, but wrote all about it and told others. And that's kind of where I'm at. I want to stay safe and not go to jail, first and foremost, but I want to tell others that it's possible. You know, I'll share this with you, actually. The country singer, Naomi Judd of the Judds, committed suicide 2 weeks ago. Tragically, just days before she was to be enshrined, deservedly so, into the Country Music Hall of Fame. Now, this is a performing artist who had been retired for over 20 years, millions of dollars, nice, comfortable home. You would think on the surface, this is what more could you want out of life? And bless Naomi, she spent time out of her own, she took time out of her own life to speak about depression, to speak about how difficult it is, to speak about how it was for her personally, and how she fought to overcome that. The fact that she lost that battle is heartbreaking, first and foremost. And it goes to show even the most studied people who've been battling this for so long, we're still people, you know, we still break down, we still suffer too. The fact that she couldn't find that peace is just I don't know. I've been having a hard time wrapping my head around it, you know. On a personal level, that's been painful for me to kind of come to terms with. It's that Naomi Judd committed suicide. You know, I guess in a roundabout way, what I'm trying to say is that she took time to try and tell others, look, this is a disease. This can ruin your life. It can kill you. Watch out for it. Help others. You know, she did those things. And that's, you know, to a certain degree, that's what Aldous Huxley did. Hey, I've found this chemical. I got it from somebody else, but you take a little bit of it and wow, it alters your consciousness. The ramifications of what we can do with that are important. And in a similar way, I look up to those two people, to Naomi Judd and to Aldous Huxley. They're two people that tried to help humanity with their own experiences. And I think, you know, when you're working at a job that doesn't really have a set description or a set list of responsibilities, and it's a job that you gave yourself to heal other people, I think it's important to frame that and focus and take a look back at your priorities. You know, what are we here for? We're all here for a reason. Things happen to us in our childhood that traumatize us, and we have to overcome those traumas or we live with them. Those are your only options. Living with trauma is painful. And the pain of that trauma manifests itself in very negative ways. It's a very painful existence. So we're left with overcoming trauma. And to overcome trauma, it's like the 12 steps. You have to acknowledge that you were traumatized. But at the end of it, you kind of have to leave that breadcrumb, that trail of breadcrumbs for others to follow. Even if you weren't successful like Naomi Judd. Tragically, she ended up succumbing to her suicidal thoughts and took her own life with a gun. Heartbreaking. But at least she tried, you know, at least she tried. And that's all we can do is try. So to me, that's what gets me up in the morning. How can I get my message out there? How can I let that single mother who's just in bed with depression for the third day, is called in sick, doesn't have any more sick days, and her kids are, you know, all... How can I get that person out of bed and motivate them and tell them the story that there is hope? That's the message. There's hope. Don't give up. You got to keep fighting. You got to keep trying with all you've got. And sometimes it's more than what you've got. And when you reach that point, you need to ask for help. And that's what this group is all about. Like, if you've reached a place in your life where you just don't know how you're going to go forward, you need to ask for help. And I think we've all been there. I know I have. And that's where true leadership and true just next level caring, I think, for lack of a better term, comes from. Just recognizing that in others. Walking each other home at night, making sure everybody's doing okay. And if you're in a place in your life where you just don't feel like you can make it to the next day without another drink, without another bump, without another line, without calling your dealer, if you haven't been out of bed for several days, you haven't taken a bath in 4 days, there's help. Get help. That's what we're all here for. I'm not the only healer in the group. It's a group chock full of healers. And it's a group founded by Ashley here, made out of love. I wouldn't be here if it weren't. And I've seen it happen time and time and time and time again. Somebody just raises their hand, I need help. And every time it's I love your group, Ashley. Boom, you got a list of people like, what do you need? What's going on? How can we help? There's help out there, We just gotta sometimes have to drop our pride and ask for it. I can't do this anymore. It's not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of intelligence, knowing that you need an extra hand to get where you need to go.
That's a beautiful piece of advice. Since we just have a couple minutes left here, I want to end with one last question. And that's,
Sure.
If I gave you a magical wand right now, what are the top 3 changes you would do in the world?
That's a good question. I think I would outlaw war. The concept of arming a group of soldiers with weapons to go attack a neighboring country is just obscene. As an American, it's embarrassing and disgusting to see how many times our own government has done it around the world. It's a sick, twisted thing. War. It's something that happens when you get individuals in positions of power. You get all megalomaniac and just want to, kill everybody. That would be the main thing. Outlaw war. What else would I do with my magic wand? I think, end suffering, end hunger, things like that. Homelessness, especially. Mental health crisis. I think number 3 on the list would be the mental health crisis in North America. When you're not feeling bad and you don't know who to turn to and you don't know what else to do, that first step for help does not need to be your family doctor. Your primary care physician is not who you need to go to as the first step to address mental health issues such as depression or anxiety. The only thing those individuals are going to do for you is give you a prescription for a pharmaceutical poison that is not going to help your life in any way. What we need to stop, what we need to do is work to educate our neighbors and friends that if you're having a mental health crisis, if you're having mental health trouble, it's not a pill that's going to fix that. Your body is a beautiful organic machine. Your mind and body is a fascinating thing. It needs things. We all need things. If you remember from school, that hierarchy of needs, that pyramid, you got your basic needs on the bottom here. You have a need for shelter and food. And up top, you've got, love and self-realization. But at the end of the day, we still have needs. I think mental health in North America, I think, is really one of the main things I could change to answer your question. To get people to understand that it's a system. And if there's not balance in your system that is your body, i.e. exercise, nutrition, avoiding poisons like alcohol, if you're out of whack there, it's gonna, your body and your mind, they're very closely connected to your gut. And so if you're not imbalance there, it's going to cause things like depression and anxiety. It doesn't mean you need a prescription.
Yeah, and sometimes those prescriptions come with side effects too. If you're already feeling unbalanced, then why do you want to add in something else with other serious side effects? When you could instead get to the root of the problem and eliminate that. Start there.
To me, it's really what road you go down.
Yeah.
And if you want to go down that road, that trailhead starts at your primary care physician's office. If you want to go down that road of bad side effects, poor mental health, spending a lot of money on crap poison that's just going to hurt you and it's not going to help you, that trailhead starts at your local family physician. You know, God bless the family doctor. We need them. Nothing against them, but they don't belong in the mental health space. They're not trained for it. They don't have the tools necessary to deal with it.
Yeah, their training comes from big pharma. It's not around
exactly. Yes, exactly. So if you want to go down that road, friends, neighbors, that trailhead starts at your family doctor's primary care physician's office. Do not go to them for help for mental health needs. Do not. You need to come to, it's the 21st century. You need, not to be all woke, but you need to find help. You need to find some healers. You need to find people who are versed in a psychedelic option. If you're currently speaking with a mental health professional and they're helping you, great. Kudos for you for going to that. That's wonderful. But if that individual seems totally ignorant and uninformed about psilocybin, about MDMA, about ketamine, then I think that's a true litmus test. You need to ask some hard questions if that's the right provider for you. Because I think in this day and age, with all the new information out there, if your counselor or mental health provider does not know about mushrooms as an option, is not willing to tell you, hey, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, you didn't hear this from me, but I know a guy and mushrooms might be the real best thing for you, then you have to ask yourself, do they really care about me as a human? Do they really care about me as a patient? Or is it something else?
Yeah. Are they just, are they busy with their paying off their debt and their only little bit of amount of time with each client because they got to keep them going so they can pay that debt down?
Take this, call me in the morning. Next. Take this, call me in the morning. Next.
It's all their
it didn't work? Take two instead of one. Take another one. I love that. Take the add-on SSRI. When they start, that's when it goes from bad to worse at that point. When your provider says, okay, now we want you to take 2 SSRIs. They're just adding on to that point. It's just, oh God, I've seen that so many times. And when folks like you or I get to someone like that, they're all whacked out. It takes months to get off all that crap.
By the time people get to me, sometimes they're on these things for decades. And
mood stabilizer. What the hell is a mood stabilizer? What is that even?
For me, it's called Kundalini Yoga.
Yes. Yes. I think, back to what I was, people don't know what they don't know. And I think the best thing that I can do, why are we here? Why were we born? Why am I sitting here right now talking to you, Ashley? I think it's to help people, and if we're going to do that, then we need to start pointing them in the right direction. Yeah. So I'm glad. I've had a pleasure being in your group. I look forward to a lot more times in the group. I look forward to meeting everybody that's new to the group. Welcome.